Hello everyone. How are we? How are we today? Apologies for a little bit of a later stream than initially planned by about 5-10 minutes. But I actually started the stream the starting soon. I started that at 5 to. Twitch has seen 5 or 10 restarts because for some reason it didn't want to connect to YouTube. Yesterday, it didn't want to connect to Twitch. Today, it didn't want to connect to YouTube. And I thought, oh, this is not good. So that's why we're a little bit late. Some technical difficulties. And do you know what? Nothing changed on my OBS between yesterday and today. And guess what? Twitch is working. I have no idea why Twitch didn't work last night. But, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. It's a nightmare. OBS is an absolute nightmare with this multi-stream thing. Maybe I should just stream on YouTube. Maybe that's what I should do. So, let's see who have we got. We have Natalie. Good to see you. We have Vercitorix, son. I probably butchered that. I apologise. And we have Midnight. Welcome all. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully, this is going to go well. It's a little bit unprepared and a little bit prepared. It's one of those. So, we're going to talk through building a Path of Titan server. And I have nobody with me today. I'm not in a VC. I might go into a VC with some others later on, but we'll see. We'll see. So, I wanted to do those that have been... Yeah, those that have been subscribers of my channel for a long time will know that I used to run a server called Archaeos Archipelago Realism alongside Texan and Sphinx and a few others. And obviously I left that server well over 12, maybe even 2 years ago. I left that server. But we built that server up and it went better than I expected it to go. I've been away for a few years in terms of, am I building a server? Am I not building a server? What am I going to do? You know, all that kind of stuff. And I finally came up with a concept of a server, and I've called it Primitive Horizons. And as part of that, I've come up with a secondary server called Ancient Horizons. And Ancient Horizons is the easier of the two servers to build because it's a low-rule server. So this is very much going to be a very generic-esque. It's not going to be very in-depth, but it's going to be generic-esque way of building a Path of Titan server in terms of A to B. This is the first episode within the series. And today's episode, we're basically going to go through the foundational work of how I start to set up a server and what the beginning steps are for me as personally. You know, everyone has it different. Everyone will do things differently, but this is how I go about it usually. Now, like I said, this isn't going to be completely in-depth, but if you, for example, were wanting to build a Path of Titan server, how would you go about it? Where would you begin? Well, the first thing you need to do is find your why. Why do you... I am in the way here, aren't I? I am in the way here. Let's just move me over there. Oh, that's covering up a dino. I can't... I'm sorry. We're going to go here for a second. On this screen, we'll go here. So, you need to find your why. Why do you want to create a server? And there could be very, very numerous number of reasons. You could have a unique idea that you haven't seen done anywhere else. There is something that you feel could be improved on other servers. Perhaps you feel that a certain way they do their profiles or something like that, you could do better. So there is maybe that is a reason why. Perhaps you're just fed up with the way other servers are doing it. Maybe you're fed up with other realism servers and the way they do it. So, and perhaps you're part of a group that also wants to run their own server. That's very useful and very handy. But you need to find your why. Because if you're just, I'm just going to make a server, you will probably fail. You probably won't get very far. Because there is a lot of work that goes into making a server, even a low end server, a low rules server, a semi-realism server, those kinds of servers. Even those take a lot of work. Even those that are death matches and just official-esque like DLK, they take a lot of work to get started and to run. So you have to find your why, and you have to follow it through, because the why needs to be a passion. You need to be passionate for this. Really want to go forward with creating a server. So where to begin? Find your why. Once you found your why, you need to come up with the concept. What is the overall goal for the server? Is there a story or lore to go with the server? Something to really immerse the player, immerse the person that is coming to your server? Is it purely for chaotic fun? Is it going to be deathmatch? You know, that kind of chaotic fun where there are no rules really and things are a little bit blasé and you can do whatever you want? Or is there a roleplay element? Is it a semi-realism server? Is it a realism server? Is it a hardcore realism server? How far do you want to go with it? Each one obviously has more work than the next. You're going to do more work in a realism server than you are in a semi-realism server. You're going to do more work in a semi-realism server than what you're going to do in a low rules server. So you need to consider how you want the server to be, what the concept is. How are you going to create the world? Especially in realism, this is very important. The story and the lore is very important. A lot of servers go along the lines of very similar to the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World franchise, where they go along this documentary style of running a park that's been overrun. And the players are scientists or rangers that are looking in, and while they're playing the dinosaur, they're actually building that story from an outwards perspective of actually tracking and watching that dinosaur through a lens. Is basically what a lot of realism servers tend to do. Or you could go the other side of it. You could flip it completely and say the player is the dinosaur. You know what I mean? So you've got to find out, if you're going to do realism, you need to consider how you're going to create the world. You also need to define your strictness level very early. Are you going to be that low rule server, or are you going to be very strict? You can be a realism server and have lower rules. You can be a deathmatch-esque server and have high rules. And the strictness of how you're going to manage your server is important to put into place earlier on. So if I'm running a realism server, I'm going to be looking at, okay, so the rules need to be this, this, and this. They need to be like this, because otherwise my concept, my idea of the server isn't going to work. You also need to consider your audience. You need to find where your concept fits within the Path of Titans world and their community. You have your officials-esque players. These are players that play on officials, they play on DLK, they play on those types of servers that are very much like the official servers. You then have your low rules and semi-realism players, those that want a little bit of structure, but they don't want to go to the depth of realism where every little action you do is scrutinized and watched over with a fine magnifying glass. So you need to work out who you're going to target. It's a waste time trying to market your server, your low rules server, to a realism audience. So they're probably not going to want to play it. Some will, some won't. And that's a very important thing for you to consider within your concept as well, in how you're building your server, how you're going to get the story across, because even low rule servers can have stories and laws to immerse the player, because it's all about immersion. Just like the photos that you're seeing on the right hand side, they give you that sense of immersion. You want to feel part of the world, and that is the most important trait that you're going to look at when you're building your concept. When I built the Archaeos concept, because that was my concept that I built as part of Archaeos when it changed from Isla Vitale over to Archaeos, was the concept around, very similar to Primeval, Prehistoric, is it Prehistoric Kingdom, Prehistoric Park, the TV show. It was all around these anomalies, these warp holes kind of things, where dinosaurs would leak into the ecosystem through these warp holes, through these anomalies. And what that concept did for Archaeos was it allowed It allowed us to play around with dinosaurs from different regions, different areas within modding. It also allowed for us to put chaotic storylines together. We could run events around, like the Nyctotyrannus and stuff like that, because it allowed for these weird amalgamations of creatures that are just coming from different planes through these anomalies. So I mean, it was a really interesting lore and a really interesting idea, and people fed into that idea, and it allowed for us to do so much with the concept. So you want to decide your concept. It's probably one of the most important things you need to decide. The next thing you need to do is build a core group. So you need a group of people, some friends, some people that are going to buy into your concept, and you want to market it to them. Now, you don't need lots of people. I'm not saying go out and find 50 to 100 people. You don't need them. You need a good core group, 10 to 30 people. And you want to sell the vision of your server to them. You want to get them invested. Because if you just try to sell the server, I'm going to make a realism server. And if you're not a YouTuber, or you're not a Twitch streamer, or you're not somebody who's, got quite a bit of community presence, people are just going to go, oh, yeah, 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 you're going to make a realism server. Cool. However, if I come to somebody, and not me specifically, but if you go to somebody and you say, look, I have this really cool idea, it's this, and this, and we're going to have dinosaurs that come in through different regions. We have this anomaly system that's going to allow this to happen, and this to happen, and that to happen. What you eventually do is you sell the vision to that player, and the person that you're talking to, usually a friend, or usually somebody you've played with, they'll go, you know what? That's actually a really cool idea. Or they'll say it's a bad idea. It's one or the other. Not everyone's going to want to be a part of the vision. That's another thing you're going to have to remember. Some people will, some people won't. And luckily for me, the people that I've got around me are very much tied into this Primitive Horizons, Ancient Horizons brand idea that I've got, this concept idea that I've got there. And they're very much a core group of people that I work with quite often. And, do you want to sell the vision to them? Then, once you've got a core group of people, you want to make them feel important, make them part of the process, make them feel like they've got ownership of the server they're building. While they aren't officially owners, because they were one of the first group there, because they are the core group there, you give them an extra role in the Discord. Your founder, your prototyper, your conceptor role. And what that does is it allows them to feel like they were part of the creation, which they are. They are a massive part of the creation, and you should look to reward that. And when they look on their Discord page and they look to the right-hand side and they can see they are separated from the main player base when your server's up and running, they're going to feel some sort of way about that. They're going to feel really positive about that. And people that come into the server are going to see these people, these conceptors, these prototypers, these founders, and they're going to be like, these people were here at the very start. So there's a sense of accomplishment because they were part of the creation process. They were part of becoming the server. But you want to make sure you target the right players. Like I said before, it's a waste time me playing with... I've got some people that I play with on low rule servers. I've got people that I play with on realism servers. If I'm creating a low rule server, the last people I want to talk to are the realism players, because they don't really care about a low realism server. Not necessarily true, not always true, but 9 times out of 10, they want the realism experience. That's why they're realism players. Likewise, if I'm building a realism server, I don't want to go to an officials player, because an officials player is going to be less likely to want to play on a realism-esque server. So you need to target the right players when you do this, and the best way to find these players is literally by playing the game. Honestly, the amount of people you can meet by playing the game, realism is even easier than officials. Honestly, realism is even easier. Get involved in a few nests. Get nested in a few times. Get some camaraderie with some players. It's how I met Overlord. It's how I met the people in the Northern Lights. It's how I became a head staff member of the Northern Lights. It's how I met that group. That's 100 people in the Northern Lights. And it was bigger than that back in WWD days. All because I took one nesting. And a lot of the people that are helping me with Ancients are part of the Northern Lights group. Is it a coincidence? No, it's not. Find new players through playing the game, playing with other people, and be open to playing with other people. You know what I mean? Enjoy playing and meeting. And like it says at the bottom here, these are the most important people you'll ever bring in. Once you've got that core group that believe in the idea and are willing to back you on the idea and are willing to work on the idea with you, they are the most important. Don't ever forget them, because the server wouldn't be where it is without them, especially later on when it gets bigger and it becomes successful. Now, once you've done that, once you've brought in the people, you've got the concept, now you need to construct the framework. And the framework is paramount to the success of the server. You can't just say, I'm going to build a server and just go bang, 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 bang. You have to plan for it. You have to plan what the rules are going to be. How are you going to do the profiles? If there are profiles. How are you going to do the growth and progression? What's the consequence system for those rule breaks? What's even the roster that you're going to go with? Are you going to use modded creatures? Are you not going to? Are you going to use creatures from a specific time period? Or are you just only going to use Mesozoic? Or what are you going to use? What's your beginning roster? So you want to consider all these things when you start building the framework. Your rule set is going to be a lot more detailed if you're doing a realism server. So you're going to want to plan some time for going through the rules. If you're doing a low rules server, you only need 1 or 2. You can probably spend 20 minutes. Well, you're probably going to spend more than 20 minutes. But you get my point. You're going to spend a lot less time on a low rules setup than you are on a realism setup that's going to be so much bigger. And you're going to want to look into how they're going to grow. Are you going to use the questing system? All these things you should have answered very early on. So you want to make sure this framework's in place. And this is where those people I mentioned earlier, this core group, this is where they will assist you. I just thought I am over the top of a very good picture by Duck. Look at that. Look at that picture. That is an outstanding picture, that there. I love it. Love that picture. So, let me just have a look at my notes. So we are looking at what are we on? Construct the framework. Okay. So other things like permadeath are probably something you want to have a look into. Maybe you want to run an ecosystem type. Maybe you're going to move with biomes. If you're going to move with biomes, how are you going to separate each part of the roster into these biomes? So there's a lot to think about when you construct the framework. But all that needs to be done somewhere. Where are you going to write all this? Well, the best place to write all this is in a Discord. Why a Discord? Because it is the true hub of any Path of Titans server. You look at Dynasty, Discord is huge. PTR, Discord is huge. Crimson, Discord is huge. All these servers have Discords that are set out specifically for the ease of their players. But that doesn't mean that we can't use Discord early. Discord is a very good way of bringing that core group together. I've done it for Ancients, as I will show you shortly. So, you want to make sure that you have a Discord set up, and the intent behind the Discord is you want to make sure there is structure. Make navigation effortless. Make sure there isn't too much clutter. Don't mind some clutter, some of those off-topic channels. You don't mind them, You also want to add in, make sure that it's very much information based. You want to guide new players step by step through the process from the minute they get into the Discord to the minute they enter the server, and after that as well. And the Discord's the main port of call for rule breaks. It's the main port of call for advice, help, any of those things, showing off dinosaurs, showing off pictures, all this kind of thing is community sort of communication, and Discord is the best place to do it. I've seen Facebook servers, Facebook groups that have within Path of Titans, but they don't have a Discord. I don't usually see them working as well as Discord. Discord is the primary place. So you want to make sure you plan your categories and channels. How easy can you make the navigation for a player? Even a new player. You want to, basically, the way I say it is, you want to be able to build the Discord so that you can basically put your nan in front of the computer and say, Nan, navigate through this Discord, and your nan will be able to do it. Now, that was very much a reference for my grandparents, because my grandparents are in their 80s. So, it's very much a millennials grandparents thing. You younger generations, your grandparents might actually be able to use this technology, this Discord technology, a lot better than us, our millennial grandparents. Anyway, getting sidetracked. So, you also need to consider what bots you want to use. Well, if you're doing a Path of Titans server, you need to have PopBot. PopBot is one of the most important bots within Path of Titans. Definitely going to need that. Maybe you're going to pay somebody to build a custom bot. Maybe that's a thing. I've seen many other servers have leaderboards that are linked to the Path of Titans stuff and stuff like that. So, what bots are you going to use? How are you going to do the onboarding? What roles are you going to need? You're going to need members. Are you going to need announcement pings? You need staff roles. You need head staff roles. You need content creators. You need donators. You need all these other roles. So you need to make sure you've got those planned out as well. Is there any areas that need to be hidden? Do you want everyone seeing your staff discussions? Probably not. You probably don't want to see them doing that. They probably don't want to see what's happening. Well, they probably do want to see what's in the staff area, in all honesty, but you can't show them what's in the staff area because that's meant to be hidden. You don't want everyone knowing what the financials of the server are. That's stuff that needs to be hidden. You don't want people to know what's coming next either, do you? No. You need to build the hype. You want to just drop little tidbits in, rather than them just read it in the staff chat and go, haha, look, they're keeping an eye on this player and they're going to do this event soon. No. It's got to be worked properly. There needs to be hidden areas. You don't want people that pay to your server, there's donators and their private chat that every server seems to do for donators. You don't want non-donators seeing that, do you? So you need to plan these things out as well. Now, that is the last thread I have on this little slideshow that I've got for you guys. Because, quite simply, we're going here. This is Ancient Horizons, the server I've been telling you about. Take a quick sip. Lovely. So, I might have to move myself over here again. Just for the moment. Let's just make sure my display is capturing the right thing. That'll do. We can have that stuff at the bottom. That don't matter. Right. So you can see here that there's not a lot that's been built on Ancient Horizons. You look at Primitive. Primitive is very much in the same sort of position. So, Primitive is the realism server that we are going to be building over time. We've got the staff chats here. We got concept to chat. you know, the primitive concept of stuff, profile drafts, Discord server, you know, Discord rules, the beginnings, in game, blah 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 blah. And this is for anyone that comes into the server. And you can see I've got a core group with Nugget there as well that hasn't got his role, so we're going to give Nugget their role, and they are a primitive conceptor. Okay, so this is the realism server. The realism server is in construction and is basically going to be, it's going to be released in 2027. That's the idea for the realism server. That's going to be released 2027. Not sure when in 2027, but it will be released at some point within 2027. What we are working on currently is Ancient Horizons. Now, Ancient Horizons is a low rule server. The concept of it is it's a low rule server where it's very similar in its play style to a mid-range between officials and semi-realism. Okay? So, it's not going to have as many rules as semi-realism, but it's not going to be as harsh on growing as what officials are. It's still going to be relatively harsh, but it's not going to be as harsh. And we have the ideas for some rules. We're looking at no mixed packing or overpacking. That is likely to change. We do say carnivores will not mix pack with other species unless stated in their fact sheet. So there are some stuff. We have a little bit of a body down rule here. It's probably going to change. And loads of different things. Third partying and, you know. So there's discussions happening there on all of this stuff. Now, it's, like I said, it's a very early stage. We have a lot of stuff here. We have a profile template that we're looking at. This is the current one that's got 2 reactions. This was done by myself. And you can see that Val did a very basic one, and then I expanded it. I gave it a bit of a format and stuff like that. And you can see that there's not going to be a lot of... You can see there's not going to be a lot of detail within these profiles. We're basically going to say some IRL stuff. We're going to be, this is the classification of it, this is its diet, this is its slot size. Obviously, we are allowed to change those slot sizes. So if we feel like something needs to be a lower slot size, we will lower the slot size. If we think things need to be a higher slot, we will increase the slot size. It just depends on the dinosaur. We're going to have its total hours of growth here. So what the plan with Ancients is if you're not, if you go onto officials and say you're not very good at questing or whatever, I've known some people can take, oh, I don't know, 24 hours to grow an Apex. I've seen it happen. I'm not saying everyone's like that, but I have seen it happen. And for those types of players, it's like, not everyone's going to do it for 24 hours. They don't want to. They've got lives. They don't want to do that. So they end up on a community server and they can never find one that's quite the same. But what we want to do is we want to put in a hard stop. So it doesn't matter how bad you are at questing. If you're on an Apex, for an example, this is just example, don't take this as literal. But if you're on an Apex, for example, 10 hours, you will definitely be grown into an adult by 10 hours. So you're not doing 12, 13, 14, 15-hour grows. Because we have lives, you know what I mean? Some of us have lives and we don't have time to spend 15 hours growing a Rex or getting killed and growing a Rex as often. So we're going to put hard stops in using the passive growth system to ensure that you can actually get your dinosaur grown within a certain amount of time, even if you're not the best quester, especially on Riparia, because Riparia is a little bit more awkward on its quests as it's a newer map. So the questing itself will be slightly buffed compared to officials. It's not going to be buffed massively. We're not talking 40 times like some of the other servers, but we're talking maybe 1.5 times, something like that. Just to speed it up a little bit, but not make it too fast that you can basically be an adult in an hour. That's probably not going to happen. It might happen for some of the smaller creatures, because we are going to have different passive timers 4 different creatures. So obviously, the smaller your creature, or in terms of slot, the lower slot your creature is, the more likely it is to be a faster grower. You know what I mean? So your apex, I think I have if we look in, is it playables or is it in? It's not in any of these. I'm sure I put it somewhere and I can't find it now. But we had a rough idea of how maybe I can just search Ancient Horizons, 10 hours. See if that finds it. Nope, of course it doesn't. No, okay, maybe I didn't do it in here. Anyway, or did I? Ah, I know where I did it. Hang on, let's find me direct messages. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I am missing. Here it is. So, this is the original concept idea of how long it's going to take from a passive growth perspective, not from a not from a quest growth perspective, but from a passive growth. This was what we were originally thinking. Now, this is likely to change. This is likely to change, but we think this is a good starting point. I mean, to be fair, 2 hours passively for a tiny is still a long time. Like when I talk about tiny, I'm talking your one slot as more, not necessarily Deinonychus, but more sort of Hatskull Raptor, Dimetrodon Millery, if these were to go in, Compsognathus, City Taco, those kinds of dinosaurs are going to be under this tiny to 4 hour. The 4 hours is more likely to be your Latons, your Patches, your well, maybe not your Patchy, but your Latons, your Deinonychuses, those kinds of your Camptos, those types. So that's the overall idea for the server. I think the server idea was actually stated here. Very limited rules among other minor rules, but not to the level of realism. Very slightly faster growth. Very slightly faster growth, like ever so slightly faster than officials. Passive growth enabled as follows, or sped up slightly using the questing system. Reasoning is officials and DLK have no cap on how long it could take you to grow a dinosaur. Could be 24 hours if you're not good at questing. Here you have a hard limit that is sped minorly with questing. Still not fast like semi-realism and other servers, but still faster than badly questing on DLK or on officials. That's the concept. So there is actually quite a lot of benefits because, like I said, the main thing for us is building primitive for 2027. So what is Ancients? Ancients is basically going to help us with building primitive as well. It's going to be a very good training place for staff members. So you know yourself, if you played on realism, that if you make a mistake as a staff member, oh, don't you get told about it by the community. And the community are very unforgiving at times. Very unforgiving. Those mistakes can be made with a lot less pressure and a lot less uproar on a lower rules server. So it's a very good training place for staff, which is also something to take into account. But the main idea for Ancient in terms of how it is useful for primitive is its secondary function of primitive currently has 10 offline players, 6 conceptors, 1 advisor, and 2 staff currently online. That is a very small player base to try and grow a realism server from. Now, I know the players that play on Ancients are unlikely to be realism players, but if we're realism players and we play on lower servers, then so will people on Ancients. So it builds this brand, this Northern Lights community brand, where we look along, because both servers will be brought to you by the Northern Lights. So it gives you this very much this branding guide to the Northern Lights. We have our low realism server, the how did I describe it? I think it's in the announcement how I described it. Yeah, Ancient Horizons is the accessible, relaxed, and wider appealing server. Primitive Horizons is the immersive, structured, and more premium experience. So, you can see right there what the Northern Lights brand is going to bring. It's going to bring the Ancient Horizons, more relaxed, enjoyable low rule server, and it's also going to bring you the Primitive Horizons, which is an immersive, structured realism experience. So you can see how we are working it. So the whole idea of Ancient also ties into we build community relations. We have people come in to Ancient Horizons, learn to, get along with us and us get along with them, and we all build this lovely low rule server that everyone can have fun on, and we can enjoy ourselves, and it can grow up, and it can become this force for good within low. That all the stuff that every server owner aspires to do with their server. And when we then get to the point of releasing Primitive on top of that, we will then be able to, we'll have a load of players that go, you know what, we've played with these guys for a long time, we trust this staff team, now we're going to try Primitive. Not everyone's going to do that, but a lot of people will. And that's just something to consider, how we're going to build a player base onto the structured version, while also keeping a lower rules server running. And obviously my YouTube and stuff like that will help with this. So, what I wanted to do today, outside of obviously all this explaining that I've already done, was I wanted to build the Discord. I want to allow people to come in now and start seeing how we progress the server. So, what do we need to do first? Well, first thing we need to do, we need to make sure that we've got our roles set up. So you can see here, we've got some basic roles. We've got myself as an owner, because I like to have my orange colour. We have Val as an owner, who likes her green colour. We have the head staff as red, and we have normal staff as yellow. Now, when you look at their permissions, you will see that myself, I have pretty much everything. And I should have that as well. But you can see I have pretty much everything. I don't have priority speaker, and I don't have request to speak for some reason. Anyway, so I have pretty much everything. Val will be the same when I have completed this bit. So Val is very much the same. We both have administrator as well. The head staff are slightly different. They're very similar, but they're slightly different. They can view that. So they have a lot of permissions, as you can see. They've got pretty much 90% of the permissions exactly the same. In fact, they are exactly the same as me and Val. Now, the reason why... You've got to be careful with this. You've got to be careful with this. Because if you don't fully trust your head staff, this will be a dangerous perm to give. However, my head staff members, Duck, Zitoma, and Herbivore, or Toasted, as a lot of people know him, I trust them. I trust them all. I don't mind them having administrator. But if you're not sure on your top staff, your head staff, don't enable administrator. But because I think actually they'll be able to see other areas, private areas. So we might have to turn that off potentially. But the staff team, however, they have they're less permissions. They're not allowed to manage channels or roles, create expressions, manage expressions, view the audit log, view server insights, or manage webhooks, manage the server itself. Could you imagine if you let staff do this? Change the server's name, switch regions, and all that kind of stuff. That'd be detrimental. You can't let staff members have that. But they can create a nickname, create an invite. They can change their own nickname, and they can manage other people's nicknames. That's important, just in case there's a member that turns up with a NSFW, nickname or something like that. This kick, approve, reject members. Reason why I don't give these two, this kick and this ban, to staff members is quite simply, I only want head staff to be able to ban and kick people from the server. Staff have the ability to time out, so they can't send messages, and then it gets referred then to a head staff or to an owner. And it just ensures that there's no power-hungry staff. Because that happens. We've all seen it happen where a staff member has randomly kicked people because of something that's happened. Not happening here. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to let it happen. So, if they want to kick or ban anyone, they have to go through the relevant channels, speak to the head staff, speak to one of the owners, and go from there. They can time out, though. So if it's a spammer or, someone like that, you can put the timeout on. My staff members can put the timeout on, and they can stop that person in their tracks. They just can't get rid of them. And then we have the generic stuff like sending messages, adding reactions. They can mention these roles that ping everyone. They have the manage messages of removing and deleting messages. All the standard staff stuff they've got. They can do all this connecting. They can move members, deafen members, and mute members. Very important during VC moderation and stuff like that. They should also have that on. They can create and manage events. Again, very important if you have event staff that like to make events, but they do not have the administrator. They do not have administrator. Now we have the innovator role. The innovator role has even less permissions, as you can see, than the staff role. Innovators are what I was talking about earlier. They're our founders, our conceptors, our, those that are helping build the server. This is those guys, the innovators. And you can see a lot of their permissions set up here. They can't ping everyone. They can't manage messages. They can't pin messages. They can't do any of this sort of stuff, any of the staff-esque stuff. But they can do quite a lot of the other stuff, and they can create events and stuff like that, because I trust them. They've been here from the start. And you can see there's 15 members on here that are all part of the innovator group. Now, we have the member permissions, and this is your standard everyday member. So they can view the channels. But you can see how little they can actually do. They can create an invite. They can also change their own nickname. But they can't manage, kick, ban, timeout. They can send their own messages. They can do a lot of stuff in terms of this here. They can't mention, they can't manage, they can't pin, they can't bypass. Very much the same as the innovator, where they basically can't do anything staff-wise. Okay? So, I'm very happy that we've got the roles set up. We are going to add on a new role, though. We're going to add community artist. Now, this is a role that is specific to one person on our server. I think they were sort of this colour, maybe. So, this is very specific to one person on this server. And this is very helpful for you, those of you that are looking to run a server, is find yourself a community artist. Get yourself somebody that can do community art. And get them involved in the idea. And then start commissioning them to do artwork for you. It's very important. Because you don't want to use generic stuff that everyone else is using, because you look the same as everyone else then. So you want to find a community artist, and you want to basically get them to do commissions for you. And by doing this role, this community artist role, advertising their work and stuff like that, you're sort of giving back to them at the same time as they do work for you. Yeah? So, it's very important, in my opinion, to get a community artist. And I can show you, once I just complete this little bit, if I show you... Right. So, this is Eve for us. Where's Eve? She is. So, for us, this is Eve. If I take you back to Primitive and show you the art commissions, you can see the conversations me and Eve have been having in regards to the Primitive Horizons. How we started off here and we moved further down past that. These were the initial concepts for our server icon, which you can see over here. This was our initial concepts, and we did some more concepting and, working out how we're going to do it. This is the logo, how we're going to work around it. We quite like this. Yes, we like the mate theme. So we're kind of looking along these lines. We tried it with the PH in it. We didn't quite like it. We tried it with Primitive on it. Didn't quite work out. You couldn't see it on the server icon on the left hand bar. So we went back to this. And then this is the logo with the Primitive Horizons also having a bit of a border around it. So it's very much worth bringing in your own community advisor. As you can see, we currently have a commission going on with Eve, where we've talked about other ideas from other servers, what we like. We're not sure which route we're going to go. Do we go like Evergreen and Primordial, where we go down this route, or do we go down this route like DLK and Pettipoids from the Isle? So we're having loads of different ideas. We're talking about things and stuff like that. And, obviously what we're going to do. So that is one of my biggest things. Get yourself a community artist, and ideally one that does commissions. Like we've got the commission channel, like I said. And that basically allows you to get some custom artwork done. After custom artwork's done, like, look, as you get more perks in your boosts, you can unlock a server banner. That's something we're talking about with Eve. We've got emojis. We can have up to 50 custom emojis. That's something we're going to talk about with Eve. So, having a community artist, someone who is specifically employed to your server for artwork purposes is very important. Okay, so Izzy's done a invite there as well. So we'll probably turn this on at some point as well later on, this discoverable. Okay, so we've got the onboarding. This is something we're going to set up during this session. But first thing we need to do, now that we've got our roles set up, we've got our members. Maybe we have a verified member, but we're a low rule server. So I probably am not going to do that. If you were running a realism server, you probably want to have an unverified and a verified. That's those that have passed whitelisting or, their applications or whatever like that. And then you have those that have not passed application and those that have passed application. So you're probably going to want two roles. As this is a low rule server, we're not going to be doing that. We don't want a secondary role. We don't need one. We might rename this role at some point. Maybe we call them the Ancients. But people might not like being called that because they might think of it as old. Who knows? Maybe it means wise. I don't know. We might do that at some point. But for the moment, we just have member, which we're very happy with. So these are all fully set up. So what exactly are we going to build in the channels? So we have a little channels list that I've built. It's always handy having stuff set up ready, isn't it? It's almost like I'm prepared. Anyway, so here you can see the Discord channels list and categories that I am currently looking to use, and there's an easy way to build this. Okay, if you want to build a list like this and you're not quite sure what you need and what you should be doing, this is you. Okay, In order to build a list like this, I advise looking at other servers. That is very different to copying other servers. Okay? Very different. But you want to have a look at other servers. What did they do? So you can see that Evergreen, all their profiles are quite... You've got a couple of forum-based ones. You've got a couple of channel-based ones. Another forum-based ones. Another channel-based ones. I don't like this system. So I've adapted mine. To... Well, we need profiles, don't we? So I've adapted it to this more. We've got a forum for carnivores. We've got a forum for herbivores. That's it. Those are the fact sheets. I've called them fact sheets. Because they're not profiles. They're not profiles on this server. They're fact sheets. If they are fact. And when I say they are fact, this is the profile template like I was showing earlier. The dinosaur's name is a fact. Its data is facts as we know them. Its classification is fact within the game. Its diet is fact within the game. So this is why I built this. The only thing that is not fact is the gameplay tips. That's it. Everything else is fact. Hence why I've called them fact sheets. And why there are only 2. And I like the forums aspect. When we look at stuff like Dynasty, they've got a lovely forum. We look at Deep Time. I think Deep Time also run the forum where resources. They run a forum-esque type thing. Here's their profiles. They run it as forums because they're cleaner. So if everyone's running it as a forum, apart from Evergreen with some of their profiles, it kind of makes sense to go down that line. I bet PTR's doing it as well. Yes, look. So it works. Look. Although, there you go, because that was the last thing I played on PTR. But it just goes to show that the forum style works. Now, this isn't about blindly copying. This is about adaptation and inspiration. Okay? Now, Dynasty doesn't like inspiration, so stay as far away from Dynasty as you can when you're building your server, because they are very funny about it, and they've had me in a ticket over a profile I wrote that I proved I wrote 12 months before they even wrote their profile. So, and while they were, well, they couldn't really argue it because the proof was there. But I'm just saying, if your profile is very similar or your rules are very similar in terms of how they are written to Dynasty, Dynasty will call you out. And if you're part of the Path of Titans, beware. There are official PSAs that have been done around other servers that have been reported by Dynasty. Okay, I think this is one. Yes, this is one. So it gives you, it's just so you can be aware, you know, that there are servers that take this seriously in terms of copying and using them as inspiration. But, you know, it's like I was saying to somebody the other day, like, when mobile phones first came out, they had no camera on them. Then somebody decided to stick a camera on them. And then everyone did. And then somebody decided, actually, it's better with 2 cameras. So then they stuck 2 cameras on. And a few years later, everybody did. And then somebody went, it's better with 3 cameras. And you see where I'm going with this. So, inspiration is always going to be there. And my advice is look at as many servers as possible. Don't just stick to one server as your inspiration. Because if you stick to something like Dynasty, and Dynasty look over your profiles or anything like that in the future, they will have you over a barrel, basically, is the best way I can describe it. And this isn't me shooting on Dynasty. This is just me saying, look, if you use one server as your inspiration, you're going to run into issues. You're best off using a range of servers as inspiration for how you're going to do things, what your channel list is going to look like, because you can look into the stuff like Primordial and you can go, okay, what works, what doesn't work, what do I feel works and what do I feel doesn't work. And I'm looking, like I look at Evergreen here and I'm like, okay, we know this forum system, we know this works, this doesn't. This is the old way. This is WWD Walking with Dinosaurs way of doing things. This was the old way of doing things. And in fact, NatHist has took that even one step further. If we go to NatHist, wherever they are, and we look at their profiles, you actually have to leave Discord to view their profiles. Yeah? That's even further behind than what the system Evergreen is using. Let's get rid of this ping, because that's annoying me. And I've got one down here as well. Let's get rid of that as well. Anyway, so this is what I'm saying. Look at what is going well. For me, this system doesn't work. It's too many clicks away, and it takes them away from the Discord, and I'm not keen on that. This system, too much scrolling. Too much scrolling. Look. All the way up here to find Deinonychus. It's too much. Now, I assume that Evergreen's going to change this at some point. It looks like they're slowly changing over, but I might be wrong. I might be wrong. Yeah, look, this is 2nd of May. It looks like they're slowly changing from this system to this system. Very good, Dynasty. Very good, Evergreen. Keep doing it. But that's just me personally. So that's why I've gone for 2 forums. Nice and easy to navigate. Remember that, what I said earlier. Easier to navigate. Easy to navigate. So, we'll ignore the staff stuff, because that is just purely for staff. We're going to move to the important information. Now, this is stuff that is going to be the same in every server. It's going to be the same in every server. If you look at PTR, it has a welcome page. Well, isn't that the same as our getting started page? They have roles. Now, I won't be doing the roles this way. I'll be doing the roles through the onboarding. Slightly different way of doing it. An easier way of doing it, in my opinion. We all have announcements. I'm sure PTR does somewhere. Yes, there's their announcements. Oh, look, important information. Very similar to how I've got it. Important information. Not everyone calls it important. Oh, look, important. What do DLK call it? They just call it information. What about Evergreen? They call it the antechamber. Evergreen's quite a bit different to everyone else. But, so everyone's going to have important information. We're all going to have announcements. We're all going to have rules. We're all going to have change logs. Most of us are going to have donation pages, and most of us are going to have staff apps. If we look at PTR, like I said, where's its staff app? There's its rules, which are in a different category to its important information. That's fine. That's fine. They don't really show off anything else. If we look at Dynasty, oh look, their rules are also important. So's announcements. So's donations. So's staff apps. You look at DLK. Oh look, their rules are in information. Their announcements are. Their change logs are. So you see what I mean? This first category is going to be the same across many different servers. So it's always important to consider what, if these servers are using these channels, there's a good chance they are very important and they are very worth putting in. So this would be my first category. This would be the first category that a member sees. It's not the first category that my staff will see. My staff will see these categories first. If they're head staff, they'll see this one. If they're normal staff, they will see this one. And it's a very specific reason that it's at the top, because it's the most important thing that they look at every single day. So I don't want them going all the way down here to try and find the staff section. I want the staff section to be at the top. It's the first, when they open up Discord, it's the first thing they see. XXX wants to, wants to talk to me about something. Yeah? Oh, there's been a staff announcement. When you come onto the server, boom, staff announcement. When you come onto the server, oh, here's the staff chat. There's stuff going on in here that I need to pay attention of. I'm not forgetting it because it's all the way down here. Yeah? That's why I have the staff chat, the staff stuff at the top. But for a member, what they'll see is this first. So this is what we're going to build first. We're going to build the important information channel first. So we need to come to our lovely channel sidebar here. And we're going to right click and we're going to go create category. And we're going to call the category important information. Now, for the basis of this right now, no worries, Midnight. For the basis of this right now, I'm not going to do any beautification. I'm just going to simply put the channels in. So, I'm also going to make sure it's a private category. There are only certain people I want to see this. And they are staff, the community artists, the innovators, and the members. Yeah? Now, I don't need to do any more than that at this stage. Because the channels that I'm going to put into that, the roles are already set up. Yeah? So when I put a channel in, the roles are already set up. When members can already do this stuff in those channels. There's only little tweaks that I want to make to them when I'm doing it. So the next one will be getting started. So we'll do, and that's going to be, I've also said here, look, that it's going to be a text channel. So we create channel. We choose text and we put getting started. And we create that channel. We don't need to worry about anything else. And it automatically puts all these roles in, look. So not everyone can see this. So if I go into server settings and I go to roles and I go to this role here, the everyone role, yeah, I should be able to view the server as role. Ah, look. That category and that channel I just made aren't there. Where are they? They're not there. Oh dear. Because I'm going to need them to do their onboarding in order to see these channels. So we have getting started. And this channel isn't going to have anything in it at the moment. We're going to go back to the channels list. Now we have announcements, and that says it's an announcements channel. So we go through the list. Announcement, announcements. Simple as. We'll do some embellishing later. Now I want to make sure it stays in the same order. So we're going to keep adjusting it. What's next? Ah, rules. That's a forum. So now to get a forum, because forum is not part of the original setup. To get a forum, you need to enable community settings. Yeah, you can see I've enabled it. And you just go through and say, okay, this is a rules channel. And this is where create this moderator only channel, you know, and all that kind of stuff in your server description. And then you just enable community. And you can do this at any point. You can do this at any point. Look, there's only, you know, 2, 6, there's 16 people in here. Welcome back, Midnight. There's 16 people in here. So that's just proof that you can do the community aspect at any point. But in order to make forums, you need the community aspect. So we got the forum here. And that was for rules. Like I said, we don't need to add any what's it called? Permissions, because we can just sync them. Yeah, synced. Why on earth it's not syncing now, I don't know, because it did with that first channel, remember? But the rules did. The rules synced, look. But the announcements didn't. Probably because it's an announcements channel. The rules channel definitely did sync. Look, when we look, it says synced with category important information. So, what's the next one? The next one is changelogs, and that's a normal channel. So that's by normal channel, it means text channel. So, change logs. Change logs. That'll do for now. And look, it still kept it. The next channel is donations on a normal channel again. In that goes. And then we want the last one, which is staff applications. Now, this list is likely to change at any point. It could change at any moment. But for the time being, this is what we're going with. Now, the one thing I do want to do is now that I've made these channels, I realise something. I don't want members and innovators and community artists. I don't want them to be able to type in here. So what I can do is I can go to the category, edit, go permissions, and select this role, the community, and say no. And no, you're not allowed to send messages in here. And then you go to innovator, and you do the same. And what this does is it doesn't change anything else on their category permissions, because you set that up in their roles. You set that up in the roles over here when you did that originally. You set them up here. But now, if we were to view the server as a member to ensure it works, if we go to roles and we click on member and we go view server as role, you can see we have these up here. Now these are just stand-ins for now. We have this getting started. Oh look, I can't type in there, so I know it's working. I can follow this, but I can't type in here. Oh, same in here. I can't do a post. I can't type. I can't type. I can't type. And I didn't have to do anything. I just edited the category because I knew I didn't want them to type in every single one. But obviously, if I wanted them to type in, say, changelogs, for example, I could change it so I can go into changelogs itself, into this category and go edit, and I can just say, okay, just in this one only, members can send messages. And I'd just go like this, just in this channel only. But we're not going to do that. And we're going to check that it works for the other roles as well. So we're going to check the innovator role. Now, it's always worth doing this every time you finish doing a category, because you don't want to make a mistake, because it's a pain in the backside to go back and fix the mistake. So we can look at the community artist, and the community artist is also in the same. It looks like community artist cannot see the gem, cannot see a lot of stuff actually, which is slightly worrying. But if I wonder if it'll show me. If I view it as this role and as this role, there we go. You can see it at what changes just by adding the innovator to it. So it turns out Eve can see this stuff. Eve can see this stuff. Not all of it by the looks of it, but Eve can see this stuff. Okay. Because apparently Eve can't... Yeah, Eve can see it. No idea. No idea. Anyway. So that is this one ticked off. That's this ticked off. Now, I don't remember what the strike through is. I'm sure Val will tell me in the chat very shortly what strike through is, and I can strike this out to say I've done it. So, next we're going to do help and feedback. So how did I decide what went into here? Well, that's quite easy. Questions. I think every server under the sun has a questions area. Oh look, there's a help chat in Dynasty. There's Evergreen. Oh, there's the questions. We go to DLK. DLK does not have questions by the looks of it. PTR has questions. Okay, so when you're looking at these servers and they've all got the same channel or similar channels, contact staff. Slightly different, but it's still a type of questions. So when you're looking at all these different servers and they've all got the same sort of stuff in them, you can pretty much guess that you're going to need it. So questions we're going to need. Suggestions we're always going to need. Balancing is something new. Balancing is not every server has balancing. Some do, some don't. This one has suggestions that they take balancing questions, suggestions within them. But I've decided to split suggestions and balancing. Reason why I've split them, I want to focus all the balancing stuff in one area and everything else into another area, because balancing is very important on a server with low rules. You don't want an overpowered dinosaur or creature, playable, whatever you want to call them. And there is Val telling me how to do strikeout. So we're going to see if Val has saved the day or made things very impossible for me to get right. Yeah, well done, Val. Thank you. So that is struck out. Reporting, that's basically your ticket channels. If you look into any Path of Titans server, they will have ticket channels somewhere. I keep going back to DLK because DLK is very easy to find stuff in, except DLK will not have ticketing because DLK is a no-rule server. But you can see we've got rule break and support tickets here in Evergreen. And we had it in, we know where they are in PTR, we know where they are in Dynasty. So most servers that have some type of rules are using reporting channels. And then we want a consequence system. We want to be upfront and honest. Now, a lot of places will put that consequence system somewhere else. Maybe they'll put it in resources or that kind of thing. See, a lot. I don't think. Here we are. This is the help guide for creating tickets and stuff like that. Appealing tickets for PTR, Dynasty. I don't know where Dynasties is. Oh, no, I know where Dynasties is. Dynasties is in the rules and resources, I believe. Here we go. It's consequences. So that's Dynasties version of the consequence system. So it's very... The reason you want a consequence system somewhere on your Discord is transparency. You want people to know if you break a rule, this is the process we're going to follow. Unless you break a severe rule in which we will jump stages. Because obviously, some stuff you don't just use one warning for. Sometimes you have to go straight up to permanent ban straight away, depending on the severity of the thing they've done. I'm not going to talk about some examples, but you can kind of guess what examples I'm talking about. So, we're going to build help and feedback next. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do a create category. And we're going to call it the help and feedback. And we should probably have a feedback forum that I've missed in there. But never mind. And we're going to do the same thing again. Add all these roles in. And we're going to create that category. And it's gone to the bottom. Lovely. Just where we wanted it. And then we'll continue. We've said this is going to be a normal channel, so a questions channel. And then we have a suggestions forum. So we're going to go to forum and we're going to go suggestions and create that channel and move it down. And then balancing, that's also a forum. So balancing. I feel like I've spelled that wrong, but I probably haven't. Then we've got reporting, which is a normal text channel. And then we have consequence system. Now, like I said, all these channels are likely to change because consequence system can feel intimidating because they feel like they're going to be in trouble straight away. So you can always call this something else, but at the same time, I think consequence system sums it up perfectly. Other people like to go around, oh, well, you're not in a, they're trying to do the arm around the shoulder, just because you've been called into one of these doesn't mean you're necessarily getting a consequence and, pat on the back, don't worry, and, all that kind of stuff. I want it in black and white. This is the warning system, the consequence system. You break this, you break the rules. This is the system we're going to follow, and this is basically what's going to happen. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that just because you're in a report, you're going to receive a consequence. You might not do. It just depends on the staff member that's doing it, on their mood and discretion, I think is the best way to say it. Their discretion. Right. So I'm gonna say I don't want members sending any messages in here. I also don't want them reacting to anything in here. I want to keep it nice and clean. So where's reactions? There we go. We're gonna take that off. I'm gonna keep it nice and clean, and I think I'm gonna do the same in here as well. I'm gonna edit this category. I'm gonna say the permissions of absolutely everyone is they can't add reactions. Yeah, I don't want anyone adding reactions unless it's specified in. Unless I specify it. And when I do that, I will change the channel. I will adjust things. So I don't want anyone adding reactions into this, and I don't want them. I don't want them adding reactions, and I don't want them chatting in the consequence system. And that applies for all three of these roles. There we go. So that's the consequence system page. Now, questions, I don't mind them chatting. In fact, I encourage them to chat in questions. I encourage it in suggestions. I encourage it in balancing. I don't want it in reporting. Don't want it in reporting. This is going to be where there's a bot. You click a button and the bot will take you to a ticket where you can talk. So I don't want it in. I don't want anyone to be able to send messages in here. Or react, because... Okay, so I'm going to show you a reason why I don't want to see reactions as well. So, when you look at Dynasty, and you look at their profiles, look how lovely they look. Nice, clean profiles, you know. No reactions, no nothing like that. I mean, they're long profiles, but there's no reactions, yeah? You can see. No reactions. Keeps it nice and clean. You go to Evergreen, and you look at their profiles, and oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah. Don't look so clean, does it? Don't look so clean. Buff. Basically saying buff this, you know. And for me personally, I don't like seeing this. I understand the community interaction side of it, but I don't like seeing this. I want it to remain clean. You look at these, it looks a lot. Look how nice that profile looks now. This new style that they're going with, much better, much better than you know, this reaction thing. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. So I'm going to make sure they can't react. And I think I probably need to do it on here as well. Can they react on these? No. Okay, so I have already done it there. Now, announcements, I don't actually mind if they can react on announcements, you know? I want to see the community's feedback on announcements. So yes, I want to see reactions. I want to see what people think, you know? But that's the only one. Oh, and maybe change logs. Maybe I can put them on change logs. Maybe I'll put them on change logs as well. Why not? You know, a little bit of it, community reaction on changes that we make. Yeah, nice, done. Nice and simple. Maybe I should move. Oh, not that. Maybe I should move this over here. Come over here. Dark Epoch. Once again, thank you to Dark Epoch for sponsoring the stream. If you don't play Dark Epoch yet, Val will provide a link in the chat for you to all click if you wish to. It will help me massively with my sponsorship. But don't feel like you need to. Okay, moving on. Now that we've got the help and feedback sorted, we're now going to fact sheets. So, same process. Create the category. We're going to call it fact sheets. And we're going to allow everyone to see it. But we're going to go straight in because we know what we're doing here. We know these are fact sheets. So we know for a massive fact, that we don't want any message or create posts in here. We don't want any reactions because I mentioned it earlier. I'm not so keen on them. I don't want to see the reactions. I want clean. Clean. But obviously, it's down to personal preference. If you want to see the reactions, then by all means, let the reactions happen. For me personally, I don't want to see them. So, we've got the carnivores. And we have the herbivores. Create. And I've made a mistake there straight away. Look, this is a normal channel. This is a forum. I need to delete this channel because we don't want herbivores in that sense. We want herbivores as a forum, like so. Now, for some reason, this is just those that can post. So you can see on this side that everyone can see it. The only people that can actually post are staff. And I can prove that. If we go, again, back, like I was saying before, let's go to the roles. Go to member, because this is... I'm checking everything with member, because member is the most... It's going to be the most used role, okay? Innovators, after a certain point, there are not going to be any more innovators. Community artists, after a certain point, there will be no more community artists. But there will only be 1 or 2 community artists ever. So I'm going to make sure I check stuff with member, because member is the most important role. And honestly, my nose is so itchy today. Anyway, so you can see, I'm viewing it as member. You can see I've got the lovely important information. I've got the help and feedback, and now I've got the fact sheets. And you can see, look, I don't have permission to post in here. In either of them. That means things are working properly. Which we like to see. So we can remove fact sheets from it now as well. So this is removed. And now we have event season. Event season's quite an interesting one. I quite like this is a new concept, something that I've seen on a couple of servers. This new concept of allowing players to run events, and I quite liked it. You know, it's a cool idea. Let it, especially on low rules servers. I think it works really well on low rules. I think you have to have some staff input on realism servers. I think you need to have some staff input somewhere. So we're going to create the channel. We can see here that we're going to have a forum for our official events. So these are events that are organized by the staff team at they're organized by the staff team at Ancient. So we're going to ensure that no post can be made by community artists, by innovators, and by members. In this one only, because this is only where staff are going to do this, okay? And then in player events, we're going to have the same thing. It's another forum, and it's called player events. And this is going to be where everyone can post. So I expect to see loads of different events being made by people that are playing. And we have some chatting going on with Lord Duck and Paige. So, player events, I want to double check. I want to make sure that, you know, this member role can definitely post in player events. It can't post an official look. Can't post an official event. But it definitely can post in player events. So you can create your own event. Maybe you want to do an iguanodon migration or something similar. So that would be the way on the server you could do it. You could set up an event in the player events and let people join it from there. And when I say an event, I mean something that happens in the future. I don't mean something that happens right now. Right. Let's go back to the channels list. And what have we got? We've got an event VC. So maybe I'm gonna yeah, okay, we'll put the event VC in. Now you could do it as a stage. You could do it as a stage and get people to request to speak. Don't have to do it this way, but you probably could. But we're going to do it just the standard voice chat, which is event VC1. And everyone can join that. Okay? So, something I do want to put into this server that I haven't got on here is a stage channel. We just call it the stage for now. And this is basically a concept that came from... This is a concept that came from... our Chaos, where we used to do something called a fireside chat. And the fireside chat was... Why can you manage that? You guys should not be out. No. No, you guys can't. You guys should not be able to do that. Staff can. You shouldn't be able to. That's kind of weird. Anyway. So. We want these people to be able to... We don't know. No. No. It's weird how it's set this up. Anyway. So. Yeah, we used to do something called a fireside chat. And what the fireside chat was, it was like a bi-monthly, a monthly or bi-monthly thing, whereby... Okay, why can't... Stuff can get in there, what the... Okay. Yeah, so we did this fireside chat thing, it was called. It was called a fireside chat, and what happened was, every month, myself or one of the other head staff or owners would jump into the stage and we'd talk about all the changes that are coming over the next month, all the things we've been working on. We'd do what the most spawned dinosaur was, what the most in terms of what was the most spawned carnivore, what was the most spawned herbivore, least spawned, and all that kind of stuff. And we just basically did a full server update. That's something I want to bring back to Ancient Horizons. It's something I want to do here. It's something I want to do in Primitive when we get Primitive set up as well. So, we're at event season here. We do need to move a little bit quicker, as I notice time is starting to edge by. So we've done fact sheets, we've done the event season. That's these two out the way and done. Right, so we're at Ancient Horizons now. Now, this is the important bit here. This is the next important bit after all of these. These are all important. Event season, probably not as much, but this is now where we get to the community aspect, the true community aspect. All this stuff is just set up. The true community aspect is the Ancient Horizons category. This is the big one. This is where everyone will talk. This is where everyone will say hello. This is where most people will spend the majority of their time at Ancient Horizons if they're not in the game server. So we've looked at it. We can see a normal chat for the Ancients chat. Now this is your standard. This is your standard chat room, your general chat, that kind of thing. This is where just general chat happens regarding Path of Titans or regarding Ancient Horizons itself. We have a fair bit of scrolling to do, so a good tip is always to shut down these just so we can easily get back to where we were. And the next one is screenshots. Again, these names are likely to change, but I just want to separate screenshots and videos from one another, but we'll call them something else at a later date. Now we have native species. Now this is similar to, if I show you examples of what native species are, in terms of how you would use this for them. If you were to go to, we'll use Dynasty again, because I'm sure they have it. Dynasty have a, where is it? Not to go to groups, looking for, make search group chat, Dynasty data. They used to have a story area, and I don't know if they still have it. It doesn't look like they do. It doesn't look like they do. Huh. How weird. I think Evergreen does. Maybe they don't. Oh, yeah, they do. Here we go. Excuse me. So you can see, this is very similar. It's just a little story timeline. You know, I know lots of people like to do this. Evergreen has it. I think PTR has it. Here we go. The trail cams. So, it's all different in each server, but you know, most servers have something along these lines. We've just called it native species, and it's basically where you get to do your own little story about your dinosaur, or your playable or creature, or whatever it is you are playing. So that's what the native species are. Then we have the looking for group and looking for group chats. These are kept here because they are part of the Ancient Horizons. They are so anything to do with Ancient Horizons, it's here. Yeah. So we have looking for group and we have looking for group chat. This is where you put out that you're looking for a group, i.e., you know, you say I'm playing this and I'm looking for this, or we're this herd and we're looking for members to join this herd, and this is where you can then go. You ping that person and you go, "Can I join?" And they go, "Yes," or they go, "No, sorry, we're full now," and all that kind of stuff. That's what those two channels are. Then we've got the nesting channel and the nesting chat. Same principle, but for nesting. Yes. Nice and easy. We have the nesting channel and the nesting chat. Put up that you're nesting and chat away. So, can I have an invite to your nest, please? Yes, most certainly. And then we have the dedicated groups. Now, I am going to rename this because this is something that is done across multiple servers. And I've realised during this stream that actually Dynasty do call it dedicated groups. And like I said earlier on, Dynasty are very funny with them being used as inspiration. So we are going to change this away from dedicated groups just to stop them thinking that that is what it is, because there are plenty of other servers, he says, where he can't find one, that what is all this encyclopedia stuff at the bottom? Anyway, there are plenty of other servers that have this similar type of thing. I think PTR has it as well. Not sure where, but I know there are a lot of servers that have these dedicated groups. So we'll call it. We'll probably move away from dedicated groups, but we'll call it that for the interim. And this will be a forum as well. There we go. Dedicated groups. And there we are. That is our Ancient Horizon stuff done. Easy, right? On to the next channel list. Because obviously nothing here needs to be messed with. Everyone can type in there. I'm happy for everyone to type in there. We don't need to mess with it no more. We don't need to stop reactions and all that kind of stuff, because it's just normal channels. We don't need to mess with it. The next one is your general categories. And again, we're going to make sure this is private. We want to keep it away from those that are unverified. And we got the general channel. And we're just going to do, again, the standard stuff. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot here, but obviously a lot of people won't have... I don't know how useful this information is to anyone. I hope it's paleontology. I hope it's useful to you guys and you're getting some use out of it. To see the work that goes into building a server. That it's not just, you know, pay for a server and you're done. There is a lot to it. In fact, I said I was going to make paleontology. We'll delete this. I was going to say I was going to make it a forum based on the fact that I wanted to allow people to have like separate conversations on different things and things not get sidetracked. I thought that was quite a cool idea, quite a good idea for the paleontology channel. We go pets. We go memes. And then what was the last one? Media. Media. So this will be stuff that's, you know, screenshots and videos that isn't Path of Titans related. That will go in there. Whereas this one, this video section, this is for Path of Titans related videos. We have some stuff going on here. ISers. Okay. So let's go back to the channel list. And let's close this one off. So we are pretty much there in terms of the channel list. We're just missing the staff room stuff, which I will show you how to build shortly. The VCs, we're not going to do them on this particular episode because they take a little bit of building up, and I can't remember which bot it is that I have to use to do these. There are other servers that use them, I think. So see, look, this one's just a general. I think PTR does it. Does PTR use them? No, PTR doesn't even let you. Is it Dynasty that uses them? Somebody uses. Here you go. Join to create, and then you got herbivore generals. You got join to create VC, but I don't know what bot it is that uses that. There are other servers that use it as well. I think Evergreen, yeah, Evergreen uses it. You know, a generator. So I'll have to double check what bots they are, and just go from there. Basically on what VC ones we're going to do. So when we're building the staff channels, how do we do that? Because we want to make sure that only staff can see it. So if we start with the head staff section, we took a private category. Now we're not going to add anyone to it. We're not adding anyone to it. No roles added. Yeah. We're going to come down here. We're going to go edit category. We're going to look at the permissions. So at the moment, it just says these three people can see it. Me, the owner, Val, the owner, and the head staff because they're an administrator. Now, this is where you have to be careful because if you decide to do an owner chat, obviously the head staff can see that. So you would have to take administrator off head staff. We're not going to do that on this point because I think it's fine for everyone in head staff to see this. And we're going to move this right up to the top. We're going to close down these channels. We're going to move head staff right up here. And we're going to then add a channel for head staff chat. So this will be a chat room based just for the head staff, for them to talk about things and where we're going next with the server and that kind of thing. Then we're looking at financials. Now this is a forum for organization because you have loads of different money. So you're going to want stuff for incomes. You're going to want tags for incomes, expenditures, all this kind of stuff because bots can cost you money. At the same time, you want to track your income as well. If the server's bringing money in and people are donating, you want to make sure that you keep a track of all the money that comes in, where it's being spent, how it's being spent, is it being spent wisely, making sure no one's siphoning money off the top because I've seen that happen in servers as well. So that's all stuff that you've got to consider when talking about the finances and stuff like that. And financials should only be spoken about between the absolute top people within the hierarchy, within the staff team. You don't want to talk about financials with normal staff members. While you probably trust them, at some point your staff team is going to be so big that, or relatively big, that you're not going to be able to talk about financials with them. And then we have another forum called Staff Review. And Staff Review is a very important forum in the sense of it's to allow you to keep track of your current staff members, taking notes of how often they take reports, how often they're active chatting within the community, any, you know, queries or worries about that staff member. Maybe they haven't been active, maybe they've been a little bit sharp, maybe somebody's reported them for some reason. All this stuff will go on their staff review. So you've got a good picture of this person and their role within your community. And if it's mostly negative over positive, well, then you know who you're going to be looking to move on in the future. And then we have the next category, which is the staff category. The staff room, as I call it. And this category will have staff in it. And it's down the bottom again, isn't it? Of course it is. So what we'll do is we'll move voice channels down here, because eventually they will become, once I sort the bot out, the bot will be there for the voice channels. This general chat off topic and general chat here, this one is going to be deleted, and so is this one. So these two are going to be deleted very shortly. Where is my staff room? There it is. So, staff room. We have staff announcements. We're going to make sure we put that in, because that is going to be very important. That's where head staff will filter down important information into the staff team. That's very important. You want to make sure your staff team is on board all the time, that they know what's happening all the time. You want to make sure your staff announcements are out all the time, as often as possible when you decide something. Staff chat, just a normal staff chat area. Very similar to a normal chat. It's just where all the staff gather and talk about things, whether it's important stuff or non-important stuff. Everyone talks in the staff chat. If I just briefly show you you can see there's a lot of conversation in the Northern Lights staff chat between myself, Duck, Overlord, Toast, C, and Val. You see many chats happening and what we've been talking about. So very much a lot that can be said in a staff chat. So it's definitely needed, and also it allows for camaraderie between your staff members. Very important, again, because your staff team need to be able to rely on one another and talk to each other. And, you know, if one staff member is having an issue with something, they need to be able to talk to someone and say, look, can you help me with this? And back each other up when needed. Hey, Alfredo, how are you, mate? Welcome to the stream. So, again, like I said, very important that you have a staff chat. Now, we have an event planning forum. Now, event planning is very important. You need to know when events are going to be happening, official events that are. You need to know when they're going to be happening, who's going to be running them, and what the fail-safes are. And by fail-safes, I mean, if things go categorically wrong, how do you get out of it? What is your backup plan? Because these things do happen. I have seen events tank really badly because there was no backup plan. So that is also something to keep an eye on. Warning logs, very important for them. I think every staff team will have a warning logs forum of some kind. In here, you'll do a new post. You'll type in the member and then you'll just put a key information here about them. So that'll be like their Alderon ID, that kind of thing. You'll put in there, and then you'll click post. And you might take a little photo of their username, and then any warnings they get or anything like that, you put into there. Usually, you only make a warning log once that person has received a warning of some kind, whether that's verbal or whatever, because some servers will use a verbal warning and track those. Some servers won't track verbal warnings. So it's always important to make sure you have these warning logs so you can keep track of everything. I know some people do it on sheets and stuff like that, but not everyone does that. I prefer this way. I think it's easy because you can just search in the player's name and it brings them up. So I think that's a very good way of doing it, in my opinion. And plus it saves moving to a spreadsheet and stuff like that. You can just type in the player's name and just get all the information you need on them there and then, exactly how you want. I'm good. How are you? I'm glad to hear you're good. I am very good, doing a lot of server development right now for the Ancient Horizons server. So we are slowly getting there with everything. Server development is next. So server development, exactly what it says on the tin. It is how are we moving forward with certain aspects of the in-game server or the Discord server. And so in here, you'd probably make, it says create tags, so you'd probably create, I don't know, a Discord tag. Yeah. And you'd probably make a in-game server tag. And what that does is it gives you it gives you very clean filtering of what is an in-game server thing and what is a Discord related thing. Thanks for dropping in, Alfredo. Enjoy the rest of your night, mate. Appreciate you dropping in. So, moving on to the last thing, which is staff meetings. It is always good to have a staff meetings forum. This allows you to easily give information to... My camera is gone. My camera has had it, hasn't it? What is that? How long's it been like that? Come on, camera. Sort it out, mate. Oh. There we go. Okay. So, staff meetings very important. Whenever you do a staff VC meeting, you want... This is something I've missed. Whenever you have a meeting in the staff VCs, you want to ensure that those that were unable to attend can catch up on what was spoken about. So you always want to make sure you have somebody taking notes when you're doing staff meetings. Very, very important they are taking notes when you are doing staff meetings. So that those notes can be relayed to other staff members that weren't able to attend and keep everyone up to track. So, these two channels, they're now devoid and no longer needed. These general chat channels. We have the SB chat, which is for server building, which is the innovators' own personal space, as you can see Midnight here, with their own personal space, and Corgi and some of the others. They're all innovators. And then you have, so we don't need this general chat anymore. So we can just delete this or what? Delete this. This announcements chat, we don't need this anymore either. This can go. And so can this general category. So, and we'll move server building there. So what about this channel, this text channel server closed? Well, we're going to rename this channel. We're going to rename it to server closed. Now, this channel is very important. This channel is here for if you haven't gone through the onboarding properly. If you've selected no to abide in all Discord and server rules during the onboarding, you will receive no. You will be met with this screen. Yeah. So if you're everyone, we go to server settings and we go roles, and we go this role, and we view as this role wherever it is. Display. Ah, no, it's here, isn't it? View as server role. You can see it. Oh, it shows the voice channels because I haven't hid them yet, so that needs to be done. It shows the staff room announcements as well, which means I need to get rid of that. See how I'm double checking my mistakes here. But you'll see this comes up. This server closed. So, how do we gain access to the rest of the server then, as everyone? That's quite easy to do. Firstly, we're going to fix this channel because for some reason everyone can see this channel and they're not supposed to be able to. Just staff. There we go. So now if we go back to, oh, that's server insights. If we go back to roles and we go back to than everyone. We go view servers role. You can see that the staff are no longer there. Beautiful. We just need to do the same to this role, this area. So we go down to the voice channels and we edit category permissions. Everyone cannot see. Add members for these. It's a little bit jumpy. And we go save changes. And then we go back to the roles. Again, I'm taking a very long about route, I understand. And you view server, and you can see, they can see absolutely nothing. They can't see anything. What is this game servers? I don't know what this is. Anyway, you can see they can't see a thing. They can't see a thing. It is just server closed. So how do we do the onboarding then? So, it's quite easy. To do onboarding, my phone has just vibrated. It's fine. So, we do the safety setup. So these are all stuff for ensuring the safety of the server. So I want high verification level, i.e. they must have a verified email and they need to be on the server for longer than 5 minutes. Yeah? That allows them to actually chat. And we've got a load of other things. We got auto mod. Now, I don't use a lot of this because I want my staff teams to be doing this stuff. Auto mod's cool and it's good, but I want my staff team doing a lot of this. And in terms of permissions, we're not going to require this. We're not going to require that. Okay? So, these are the default channels that every member needs to have. And that is rules. Every member needs to have rules. Yeah? Every member. And that's it. This is the default. Everyone can see that. And you can see I have to unlock stuff for everyone to be able to see it. We're not doing that. Okay, so now we want to ask some questions. Do you agree to follow and abide by all Discord and server rules for the duration of your time here? Yes or no? The answer yes gives you the member role. If you answer no, you get the server role channel. The server closed channel. That's the only server you get. And this is a required question. You cannot join without this. Then what we can do is add a post-join question later. Now I'm going to show you some roles that we're going to add. So we've got some post-join questions. So if we go to roles, maybe we'd like an announcements role. Yeah. Maybe people don't want to be pinged all the time. Maybe they want to be pinged for announcements only. Yes. So we leave that there. Just a normal announcements role. It doesn't have any other permissions. Maybe we want an events role for any events that might be going up. You know, you never know. These people might want these. Save that. And we'll save that. So, you have events then. What other roles? We can add more as time goes on. So we then go back to onboarding and we can add a post-join question. What pings what ping roles would you like? And we'll add in announcements. Yes, we want announcements. And then we give it the role announcements. Save. And events. And we give it the role events. And save. And we can do loads of different ones. Maybe we could do change logs ping. Maybe we do a change logs ping. If I come into roles, we go create role again. New role. Change logs. Maybe. We go back and we go to onboarding and we stick in change logs here. There we go. This to me is a much better way of doing the roles for people than doing what other servers do. If I show you what I think PTR does it. Here we go. It's much better than this. Yeah, much better than this, in my opinion. So you can see that there's stuff here. You see we've also used the events role. But there's stuff like giveaways and polls, and these are all stuffs we can do. You know, we can add these kinds of things in. But like I said, don't copy other servers, just use them as inspiration. Very important you use them as inspiration. Okay? But this is what I would suggest. So now we want to go, I don't know what this is. We're going to disable this on this server. Right, so server settings. Go back to the onboarding. Okay. So we can set up a welcome sign. But I'm not too worried about this page because we haven't got there yet. We haven't done all this yet. Turn read only channels into fancy resource pages in your server guide. That's a potential something we can do later. But at the moment, we're just looking for sorting things out. So we got to read the rules here. We've already got the roles, so we don't need to tell them to go and get the roles. And to be honest, all we want our members to do on this low-end server is to read the rules. It's a low-rule server. So just read the rules, get straight in there. Ah, maybe we ask you... Maybe, see, it's only saying these two channels. That's not what we want. So, anyway. Because we want existing member. Will it do it when we show existing? No. Channels must be viewable by everyone. Okay, so we can't do the, the profiles. So, we'll just skip this bit. Anyway, we'll do the welcome bit later on. So, we must have one new channel members can talk in. Okay. So here we found a little issue. So in this section of server closed, yeah, what we can do is we can add a channel called text channel called assistance. And what this is this is where they can ask for assistance. But what we're going to do is we're going to be very important. We're going to be very, very particular with it, where we're going to ensure that they can't do anything untoward. Yeah, we're looking to protect the server, so we're not going to allow them to embed links. We're not going to allow them to attach files. We're not going to allow them to do anything that could get themselves through any kind of, you know, DDoS thing or something like that. Although they probably will be able to. You know what most hackers are like. They are definitely able to do these kinds of things. But by preventing them to do a lot of things and just allowing them to chat and add a reaction, that is enough to satisfy our onboarding and also allow for any help if they are having issues. We go back to the onboarding. One public channel missing. Assistance. Channel's not assigned. Okay. Let's assign that channel then. Assistance. Right. Okay. Now we can move on. We're good. We're good. Good here. Skip that. Right. So it's saying we have 2 default channels and we can chat in 2 of them. So that's good. We have 3 public channels are assignable through questions and default channels. That's good. We haven't set up the server guide yet, which we can do at another time. So we can now preview. So this is if you were joining the Ancient Horizons. Do you agree to follow and abide by all our Discord rules? No. You will be added to server closed. Finish. Server closed. Oh dear. Help me. Why is server closed? Yeah? Back to onboarding. And we preview again. So what happens if we say yes to the rules? Well, we go yes. And it says you will receive the member role. And you're in common with 15 people. That's nice. You click finish. And now look what you have access to. You have access to all of these different channels. The only channel that I can see that you shouldn't have access to is assistance. That is the only one. We would have to remove that from their permissions. But that is fine. You can see that we can see the main bulk of what we were aiming for with this member role. Very good. Exactly what we wanted. Very happy. Very, very happy. So let's go back to onboarding. Let's enable the onboarding. Yeah. So onboarding is now enabled. So we need to go back to, remember, this channel here. And we need to edit this channel. And we need to edit the permissions. Because it says everyone can see it. But what we want to make sure is that members and innovators and the community artist, they cannot see it. They don't need to see it. They've answered yes. They don't need to see it. So what we can do is we can go back to server settings and perhaps we go through the onboarding again. Why not? Oh, how lovely. How lovely. We click yes, we click finish, and oh, it's gone. What about that chat? But what about that question? Well, if you come up to channels here, it says here, channels and roles. What ping roles would you like? Well, I'd like the announcements, the events, and the change logs. And look, it's giving me announcement, events, and change logs. Now, if any of those get pinged, that's what comes up. I'll get pinged from. I can also make sure, I can also browse the channels. Same as you can everywhere else. How awesome is that? Anyway, so that gives you an idea of how to build the basics of the server. Obviously, with your server profile, you want to put your name in. You want to change your server icon. At the moment, I'm using a lovely picture of a Deinonychus, of one of my Deinonychuses, and while Eve builds us a new server icon, but we have loads of different server icons around and stuff like that. So, and you can change your banner color, the banner color of Ancient Horizons. Now, obviously, Ancient Horizons is black and red in color scheme, so it will be for more brutality. So we're going with black at the moment. It's a Path of Titans server with low rules. This is a little description, and the game is Path of Titans. And that's that. That's how you set it up. The server tag unlocked through boosting, so you got to wait for some boosts. And here's your. You can show a boost progress bar if you'd like to. Why not? Let's see. Yeah, 36 boosts. I'd like us to get to level 2 so we can upload a server banner, so which is 7 boosts. But you know, little steps. I've got to sort this server guide out at some point as well. But you know, that's the first part of getting the server set up, and it is at this point that you could invite people to the server if you wish to. You could invite the people here. Invite people here. I'm going to click these because I'm a staff member, so I should have them anyway. And look, an issue just happened. An issue has just happened, look. I cannot see things all of a sudden. Because I am new, yeah, I have clicked things that I was not supposed to have clicked. But I need to click them all back on. Yeah? Yeah, I want to see, follow that category, follow that category, follow that, follow that. For me, I want to be able to see everything, because, you know, stuff. Moderator only, that doesn't need to be seen by anyone. So I ain't bothered about moderator only. Remove that. Okay, there we go. That's mine fixed. We've given me the correct stuff. So that's how you fix it for those of you that are staff that are watching. When you put your stuff in, make sure you click yes here and click all these, and then go through your channels and add all your new add all your channels back in. Okay, but that is pretty much it for today. The rest of it is just literally going. Next episode we'll be going through filling this stuff out. Well, maybe filling this stuff out. I might just do it off stream, in all honesty, and then show you it at the start of the next stream, and then we'll get into in-game server editing stuff, adding mods and that kind of thing. I think the next building a realism server episode might be. Obviously, there's going to be stuff that happens between each episode, but I kind of want to do the main bits, the enjoyable bits to watch, and I thought building the Discord server, getting it set up, would be very useful for people on how to do it, and I think we might do a session on bots as well at some point. But to do bots, especially Popbot, Me Six and some of the others aren't too bad. I think Sapphire is one of them, and they're not too bad to do. They're quite easy to do, but Popbot is you need a server up and running. And we do have a server up and running. It's just not ready yet. But it will be one day. It will be one day. It's just not ready at the moment. If you would like a link to Ancient Horizon, do I give you a link now or no? Do we do links now or do we do links at another time? I guess I can give you guys links if you want links. I put a never-ending link. I gotta write this into here. In fact, no, I don't. If I go to Discord, that's my phone going off non-stop. That's lovely. We go here. We go invite members. Copy, edit link. Never save. Copy link. And we go over here. My other chat is going to add the Discord link if anyone would like to join Ancient Horizons. Very early on in its process. You are welcome to. You can see how we build from here on out. But of course, innovators are closed for now. You won't be an innovator. But you'll see all this stuff start to take shape and start to have work doing on it and stuff like that. There's the Discord link from my other account. So yeah, let me know how if this was helpful for you and if you enjoyed it, and hopefully it was helpful for some people. There is a lot of stuff you can do with Discord that I haven't touched on, but this is the basics for today. It's a bit of a shorter stream because first day of the week back, I'm tired. First day back at work, I'm tired. So yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. I appreciate you all jumping in to watch and enjoy what we've done. Hopefully it helps anyone that decides they're going to build their own Discord for Path of Titans and how we go about it. Like I said, next episode might be some rules building, it might be some playable building, some initial roster stuff. It could be more Discord, it could be bot stuff on the Discord. It could even be sorting these VCs. It just depends on where we are in. It just depends on where we are in a week's time. Basically, I'm only going to do one of these a week. These different building a realism server. Next episode, like I said, next episode is likely to be on the coding side of the server. But yeah, I think it's going to be an early finish. It's going to be rather than a 9 o'clock finish like normal. I'm going to be finishing sort of in the next couple of minutes. Are there any questions that anyone has around building a Discord or like I said with the beginning here of finding your why and stuff like that? Does anyone have any questions and that kind of stuff? Hey Victor, how's it going? Because obviously, like I said, this is the first episode, so this is all just about finding the why, finding the concept, building the core group of people that you'll need, and constructing the framework. And then we talked about the Discord, and we went straight into it, and we've built our lovely Discord here today, which at the start of the stream only had this server building category pretty much, and one other category. Now we've got a full head staff, full staff room. We've got a server closed area for those that answer no. This I can now get rid of because it was a temporary notice. Now we don't need it. And then we've built the rest of it. Obviously, it's all blank at the moment, but it will fill up over the coming days. And there you go. Accidentally go into the stage. It will fill up over the coming days and weeks as we build the server up. And yeah. I'm very happy with the work we got done. It's pushed us a little bit further ahead. You're getting ideas. Good to hear. Good to hear. Are you planning on building a server of some kind, Midnight? So obviously, there are 2 servers you could join if you want to keep up with the Northern Lights group as a total. You know, the ones that have been on my channel for 3 years now. I can drop the link to the Northern Lights in there as well if you want it. And if you want to join Ancient Horizons, a very empty server right now, but you're more than welcome to join it if you want to. I have just dropped the link in the chat. Who's this person? 26th, so that would have been yesterday. They got the lucky part of being an innovator. How lucky. How lucky. Anyway. Yeah, innovators are now basically closed from now on. So innovators won't get... So people that join from now on won't get this section. But it'll anyone that joins at the moment, it'll look very, very quiet. Because none of it's been built up yet. In terms of its posting. But, you know, things take time. Things take time. But that is just about going to end the stream, I think. If you guys have enjoyed it, please drop a like. It means the world to me to see that this has been useful to some people. And I appreciate you all being with me as we built the first part of the Ancient Horizons server. And I will probably see you all on Wednesday. In fact, I will see you on Wednesday, because if I look at my listings, you'll see there's some stuff going up. We have Alberta Ceratops on Wednesday. That'll be on Evergreen. I do have a load of photos here from... I've got 2 photographers. Big shout out to Duck and Page. They are my photographers. And so I've got a load of photos of Alberta here that I can use. I also have... Duck has sent me the link to his ones. So there'll be an Alberta thumbnail going up soon. When you do build that realism server, Midnight, or that server, I don't know why I assume it was a realism server. When you do build that server, I'd like an invite to it, please. But yes, there's some nice screenshots here from Duck and Page. So I like this one. This might be the thumbnail, or this one. This one might be the thumbnail. So there's some thumbnail. So we've got Alberta. We've got... That's on Monday. Wednesday. Friday will be Poposaurus, and Sunday will be Dimetrodon Millery. So I've had some photos sent to me of Dimetrodon. This one makes me laugh. I love that. Absolutely love that. Hands on the hips. Love it. Great. And this one might be it. This one could be the thumbnail, potentially. I quite like this one as well. This one's quite nice. And then we have some Popo ones. He looks so startled. So we have some Popo ones as well. So we'll see. See what Duck brings out as well, because these are all Page. So my 2 photographers are busy at work getting this thumbnails for me, the screenshots for the thumbnails. But that is going to end today's stream. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, you can reach me in the Northern Lights community. Val, if you're still here, can you post a Discord link, please? I assume you're not here, but can you post a Discord link if you are? Maybe I could do it, actually. Maybe I can go onto my own live and do it through here. Yeah, why don't I just do that? View your channel. This is probably going to hurt the ears. You're not here, but... Oh, I'm echoing. I'm echoing. Oh, the chat hasn't come up. What are the chances? Can you post... Oh, Val is here. Val, can you post a link to the Northern Lights community and to Ancient Horizons? I know I've just done the Ancient Horizons one, but can you do it again? So if you want to reach me at any point, the Northern Lights community and Ancient Horizons are the best places to reach me at the moment. Primitive's not anymore because obviously we're working on Ancients at the moment. Once I can show you a little bit. Oh, of course. Hang on, how do I make you a mod? How do I make you a mod? Oh, not YouTube Studio. Yeah, maybe YouTube Studio. Do I have a comment by you there? Can I make you a mod? Add user as standard moderator. Right. Now see if you can do it. You should be able to do it now. Give it a go, Val. If you can't do it, I'll have to add you as a managing moderator then, not a standard moderator. I'm waiting for those links. There's one of them. Oh, look, you've got a little moderator icon next to your name now. Oh. So, one to the Northern Lights and one to Ancient Horizons. If people want to join them. Thank you for the follow, Goblin. Appreciate that. Appreciate it massively. Oh, a hydrate as well. A hydrate. Last of me drink, look. I've got barely any of it left. I forgot it's lemonade. Oh. Made my nose fizz and everything. Ah, there we go. All gone. Hydrated. Okay. That is going to end the stream. Feel free to look back around the... Look back over the stream for any information regarding building a server on Path of Titans. Obviously, this is episode 1, live stream 1, whatever you want to call it. So, really sorry that you've come in right as I'm finishing, Goblin. But yeah, the VOD will have all the information on setting up a server and going around it that way. Yes, I think that's that. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back on Wednesday with some actual gameplay from Evergreen and Alberta Ceratops. See you all then. 6 p.m. UK time. 6 p.m. UK time. YouTube will have my YouTube channel will have the video up, well, the live stream scheduler come up in the next half an hour or so. Speak to you all on Wednesday. See ya. Have a brilliant couple of days.